Well, hello and welcome to my second installment. This is my second ever YouTube video. I wanted to first of all say thank you to the people who have watched the first one. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your input. I did have my very first subscriber, so thank you, Suzanne, and some wonderful feedback in a private conversation from someone else who helped me out. I know when I did the first one, the volume seemed really low, and so I even on my computer had to turn it up all the way. So I'm trying to fix that. We'll see if it works. And the other thing was she tried it with the captioning and asked if I could work further up on my frame so that there's room for the captioning and she can still see what I'm working on. So I'm going to try to keep that in mind and do that as I go along. So today what I wanted to do first was, this is actually a second installment of what I posted previously for the stacked envelope junk journal. And I have now finished the main bones of it, so I wanted to show that to you. And then I got so excited, I started playing around with adding little envelopes and tucks and things. And so rather than get the whole thing finished, just the first one took me so long and my ideas kind of kept evolving. So I thought it would be good if I went ahead and did a post so that the posts aren't too long. And that way you can start making your things and come up with ideas too. So without further ado, here is the finished as far as I have it anyway. So if you watched the first one, you saw, how I got it started with the file folder, and then I had put all the envelopes together. So in the other post, I only had one side attached. So I just had these on, and then I needed to attach the other side. So I've done that now, and I think it came out pretty nice using my little clips and doing it beforehand, doing all the envelope paper on there first. So that worked out well. And then, so once I had them both on, I went ahead and did the back page. So that all worked out. So then the next thing I did after I had all of the envelopes attached and this back finished, I went ahead and made sure that all my inserts were cut and fit nicely. Once the envelopes were all attached, they were a little tight, so I did trim them down. So I just wanted to make sure they came out in and out easily, and I went ahead and decided where I wanted to trim things off. So I got that all together. And then I started to go ahead and decorate the first one. So I've watched quite a few videos before I ever thought I would have my own channel, so I don't have links to them. But one of the things I saw videos for were mass making things. So when you're doing little tags or little embellishments, it's easier to do a bunch ahead of time because you're working on one. You might as well make a bunch and then you have them for other projects or other pages. So I started with my first page, and it started with me wanting to make a little tag. So I'm going to show you how I did that. And as I did it, it evolved into, oh, I can make a little window frame pocket for it. So that's what I want to show you today. So I'll put that aside. And I'll leave that one in there so I can show you. So I ended up pulling out lots of just little embellishments. I had these were one on a 12 by 12 paper pack. Some of them have little smaller cutouts, like a page full of little things. And I had already cut all these up, so I can't even tell you what paper pack they came out of, but it's something I've had for years, so I don't even know if you can still get them. But they ended up being these little, like little stamps, but they're all little mixed media collages on their own, and then they're just, so I had a 12 by 12 sheet, and I cut them all up. They have this little black, it looked like a perforated line, but it was just black circles that divided them. So I cut them there, which kind of made them look like a stamp, visually, but I kind of wanted to take it a step further than that. So the first thing I did was, here's one that's not cut. So if you want to have your book look more contemporary kind of thing, then you could leave it cut straight, and I think that looks more modern. And then I used my decal edge scissors. So we called these pinking shears when I grew up for fabric, for sewing. If you cut them just once, you get a nice deckled edge. And I think that kind of looks kind of, I don't know, country-ish. But then I wanted to take it even a step further because I wanted it to look really fine, like a torn stamp. So I'll do one for you so you can see. I don't know if you can see that really well. I actually took my decal scissors and I cut them twice to give it a real fine edge. And it's not perfect, but I kind of like that. It's just organic looking, but it's really that extra detail. So basically, what I did was, I'll do it on this one, and I ended up cutting these actually down smaller than they are because I wanted them to fit on my tag that I was going to make, but also with something else around it, a border. So all I did was I go and I just use my, and then, I don't know if you can see this, I'm going to get in there close. You go right to the point in between each one. Let's see if you can see that. And then you just cut again, and you have a tinier angle. So I'll do this other side so you can kind of, so I did it once, and then I went right in between those, and it gives it that little decorative edge. So I like that. So you can do it however you prefer, but that was just something fun that I wanted to try. And then the next thing I did was I took all of those, and you can kind of see the difference between, let's see, a plain one and then one that did I get this one all the way around? Again, I'm using my Distress Oxide. You can use even just stamp ink, like in a coffee color if you want it to look antiqued, or Distress ink. I just happen to have this in Vintage Photo, which I've liked, and I used it in the entire journal, so I kind of like that. So basically you start off of the edge, and then you just kind of get the edge. This has a lot of ink on it. The reason I'm showing you this is because some of the first ones I did were real light, and I kind of like that. But if you wanted even a little bit more, go back again and just go on the edges. I don't know if you'll be able to see this in this lighting. Apparently the weather's changing again, and my daylight is going away here. So I don't know if you can see that. The edge is a little bit darker. Maybe if I have it against a white piece of paper. The edge is a little bit darker than the first time I did it. So that's just one little extra tip. So to me, the more layers that you add, every little step just adds that much more depth to your project. So I'll clean that off. Okay, so I did that, and I did a bunch of stamps. I picked out ones that all had a garden-y kind of theme, because my theme of my book is vintage garden. So once you have, those, that's just an easy thing to do. Then I wanted to put it on onto a bigger stamp, tag. So I have this, I just used, this was so much fun. I was so excited with myself here. I used a file folder because I wanted them to look like manila tags. And then I have this punch that you can buy these at Michael's or wherever. Go online and look. Amazon probably has them. Actually, in stampersanonymous.com. Now I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, I'll try to find where I just ordered some things. So they have a lot of products and things that maybe you don't always find in the store depending on where you live. So I'll put that link on there. They seem to have a lot of things. So basically I did my first one. I already punched it out. And then when I lined it up, this is one of those things that's kind of like a happy accident as you're kind of just going along. So I wanted to show you where I lined it up though, because my sizes all worked out real well when I did it this way. So I just put the first one, the edge of it, sorry about the noise, and there's another one. And then I can get one more out of this one. So you go all the way to the edge, Okay, so you end up with tags. And then, get that out of the way. Then you can punch a hole either with a normal size hole punch. I just did one right there in the center. Or you can do a tiny hole punch. And I'll show you one. Where did I put that one? And I'll show you why I did it. I haven't used it yet. Uh-oh, there it is. You can also find hole punches in a smaller, if you could see that, a little smaller hole. And I did this one with a smaller hole because I wanted to put a brad in it and attach it to something else so that it can be like a little swivel thing on my page. So I'm not sure where I'm going to use it, but I want to do some this way also, just for a little, kind of a little door. Now, then the next thing that happened, of course, because I look at everything sometimes different, is, to me, the whole creative process is kind of how you see things. And the fun part about it for me is trying to see things different. Now, I know I'm not the first person that has thought this idea up, but I didn't see it anywhere else. So it was kind of one of those aha moments. And I like looking at negative space as well as the thing, right? So when I took these out, I saw those and they just looked like little windows to me. And it gave me the idea, oh, I can make little window frames, or I could make it be a pocket or not a pocket, but I can make this be a see-through. So I don't want to waste this. So what I did was I took it over to my guillotine, and if I lined this up at the 1/2 inch mark, I trimmed it so I knew that I could get these all the same. And it worked out because I think that ended up being 1 inch. So basically I cut them all apart, and I'll show you. I did a sample. So this is what I ended up with when I cut them all apart. So then the next thing I did was I wanted the corners rounded, and you don't have to do that, but it's just that extra little touch that I like. So this is the one that I said I'm not going to put the link to because it doesn't work very well, and I actually ordered another one today from, I think the brand is Heidi. It's the same as this little, yeah, Heidi Swap is the brand. See, I'm new to all this, so everybody else probably already knows what that is, but I didn't. This one just doesn't work very well. Anyway, you just round your corners, and it made it match. This, I used the medium size rounding for this one. So you round all your corners, and then you end up with just a little frame. I have this stuck to something, so I'll tell you that why in a second here, but imagine this is just your little frame. I went ahead then and I used my Distress Oxide, and I aged just one side because I'm going to stick down the other side. So I got that aged, and then the next thing I decided I wanted to do, well, I had done it on a tag already before I discovered the frame idea. I had just the tag that I had antiqued, and I decided I wanted the first layer of the background to just be some text. So I have this little, I don't know where I got this one. It's called Love Letter, though I do know that. I don't know where I got it. I didn't know I was going to be doing these videos, so I didn't pay attention to where I bought things. But anyway, because I've had this one for a while. So I just used the archival ink in Vintage Photo, so it's the same color. So basically, you just ink up your stamp. And then it doesn't matter where it is on here because it's just, and I just stamped it. And I did both sides because I want them to be tags that you can pull out. I want it faint enough that you can write on it or add something to the other side. One side's going to be already decorated, but you could use this as a gift tag, and then write to and from on there or something. So I did that. Well, after I did that, I decided maybe I wanted to stamp my frame. But in this case, I already had the window in there. So my cheat for that was I put it inside there like that. And then I could do the stamp and stamp the whole thing. So that was a fix. So you can decide whether you want to stamp these before or after or not at all. It's up to you. The other thing I had thought about, which I haven't done yet, is you can also, I did these out of manila file folder, but you could also do them out of just cardstock, your decorative cardstock, and then you'd have a decorative frame and a decorative tag that already had pattern on it. So that's something else I will be doing, some of those too. So then the next step that I did was to put it on the, to put the acetate is what I'm going to call this. So basically what I happen to have saved, don't ask me why, because I save everything thinking, oh, I might need that for something. And so I have all of this. I had been saving like these things. This one's actually thicker. This one would have been really good. But like when you buy stickers and things like this, you know, they come stuck on these things. This one's real thin. This one's a little thicker. So I had just been saving these. And I had, like, this is actually just the bag part of it that it comes in, and that's what I use. So this is actually just a little clear plastic bag. So save those because you can use those as windows. So I took I thought about how do I want to attach that, and gluing didn't make sense to me because I didn't want glue to get on the plastic part that I had to clean off. I thought that I might never get it off all the way. So I did try glue sticking it on, and that didn't work very well. It wasn't, my glue stick that I had wasn't tacky enough and it peeled off. So I thought to make it easier on myself, I would use my sticker maker. Now, not everybody's gonna have this, but I used it because I want to show you what it does because I love it. I've had it for a really long time, and I bought it at Michael's years and years and years ago. It's a, I guess you say Xyron is how you, Xyron. And this one's a mini, Create a Sticker Mini. It gives you stickers 20 feet is the roll, and then this one's 2 inches wide, I think. So what I did was basically, I'm going to show you how this works. I don't know if I have one that isn't stuck on already. Oh, this one's not, but this one's not going to this one. No, I don't have one that's not already stuck on. Basically, you stick the imagine this is not on the paper. You just put this into the machine. I want to do one to show you though. Let's see. Where's that one I started? Maybe if I finish this one, I can actually show you how it works. Oh my gosh, I'm actually working here in the dark. What happened to my light? Okay, well at least that worked every time. And I want to distress it real quick. Oop, that's a lot. The inside. I'm doing this one really fast and messy, so it's not, but this will be a good way to show you how you can fix that. So that doesn't look very good. I took much more time. Ooh, thunder and lightning. I took much more time on the other one. You can use a baby wipe. This one just still has just enough dampness, and you can kind of blend it in. So I'll blend that in a little bit. And then if it's too wet, this one isn't really, but I'm going to show you this just in case you don't have one of these. This is a heat gun. You can use a blow dryer. I like a heat gun better because it doesn't blow as much. This one is from Martha Stewart, and it actually blows more than I like. When I recently watched a video by Tim Holtz, who is doing a video about the difference between his Distress Oxide and Distress Ink, which was well worth watching because he explains everything. But he also had some other tools he used to show you how you can use the different products. And his heat gun apparently doesn't blow. It's just heat. So you would just do that to dry all that. Okay, it's dry. Pretend it's dry. So then I would stick this into my sticker maker. And then you just crank it out. And you get your sticker. Now this one's a little bit wider, but I don't really mind. It hangs over just a tiny bit. It's okay because my acetate's just on my inside, and as long as it covers this window part, that's fine. So basically what that did is it put sticky backing just on this part. I love this thing. It actually, where did I do with these? I have I collected little things I want to start using in this journal. I have like little stamps that cut out butterfly shapes and things. You can actually, you know, run these through, or little hearts or little whatever, and make stickers out of them so they're ready to go. I love that little thing. So that's my sticker maker. So the next thing I did was then take the acetate. Here's a little piece. And then I'm just going to stick this right on there. And voila, I have my window. So this one I didn't stamp on with the words, but that's okay. I can do that later because I can put this here and then stamp the whole thing. So all you would do then is just take scissors. I'm not going to do it right now, but just take scissors and cut the edge around nicely. So that's how I made my little window, and I just loved that idea because you can just use that as a picture frame over a picture or whatever. I turned this one into a pocket because I wanted to show you how you could do that. So basically, I took my little window and then I got a piece of patterned paper that I liked and just cut it to the same size, and then used the corner puncher thing and punched the corners. And then I used double stick tape to put it together because I happen to have this. I used to make recover lampshades, and so I have all the stuff for that. And one of the things was this, it's just Scotch brand 1/4 inch double stick tape. So I have a ton of this still. So I just used it, and I just put it on the edges, 3 sides, and then stuck it to my patterned paper, leaving the top open so that it's a pocket. The only thing about that I don't love is it's pretty tight. And I know there are ways to, like if my back was a little bit bigger and then I taped it, but then you'd have a kink in the middle. I think the best thing is just do it where it fits, but then whatever you put inside, just don't have it be too thick, and then it works fine. So that's my little window pocket. So you can make a bunch of those. And then I had so much fun doing these little tags, and I did them all a little bit different. So I wanted to show you so you could see some of the different ways to attach things. So I've done these 4 so far. So this one I just did, it was a little, it's really hard to see, I don't know if you can see that, but it says Crazy Quilt Raffle on it. It's like a little ticket. And then there was stitching on the picture itself, like just different decorative stitching holding different fabrics on. So I like that idea. So I actually took a piece of, this is scrim, I think, that I dyed, and I'm going to show you that too because I used a bunch of different things underneath, and then I wanted to sew it just right to this card on my machine, so I just used a decorative stitch and just went straight across 2 lines on it. So the fabrics that I used for behind my little tickets, because you know, once I have this and I want to put it on here, it just didn't seem like enough to me. If you want, you know, a cleaner, simpler look, you can do it that way. And really this whole journal, if I don't, right now it looks pretty clean and simple. You cannot fuss it up too much if you want, you know, but if you want to add, you know, the more you add, it's just everybody's own personal taste. So you can keep it kind of simple and not do such all the fabrics and all other stuff, but I wanted to. So basically I attached my pocket to this first one. I just glued it on with my Mod Podge, and I did leave the corner hanging over because it was one of the envelopes that I had made the angle on, but I kind of like that because it's like one more different layer. So back to my little tag. So for fabrics, you can use all kinds of stuff. I'm doing a garden theme, so I wanted it to kind of just have that organic feel. So I used several different things, and I use this glass plate a lot just to put paint on and inks or whatever. It's just one that I had already from, you know, when you do, what's that called? The little clay stuff, polymer clay stuff. This is a little glass plate that you can use to roll that out on. If you have a jelly plate, you could use that too, or whatever. So basically what I did was I took some, this is scrim, and it's just kind of this gauzy fabric. I had a bunch of it. So it's just kind of this gauzy. I've seen people use something called cambric. I don't have any of that. I think that might be a little stiffer than this. And then I did some just kitchen cheesecloth was another good one to use. And then I used some burlap, but it was already a color. This one I think is called Idaho Potato is the color maybe, and I think I got it from Joann's Fabrics. I save all my scraps. I used to do a lot of sewing, and I used to do a lot of upholstery and stuff with burlap, so I have a lot of scraps. So this is what the cheesecloth turned out like, and this is the scrim. And then these are little pieces. I even saved these tiny ones that are cut off because you wouldn't be surprised the little tiny pieces that you'll use under a button or something like that. So basically, to dye this, I just used this distressed oxide spray. Now, I'll tell you the difference just briefly between ink and oxide. Oxide has pigment in it. So the ink you don't have to shake because it's just ink. This, because it has pigment too, you do have to shake this one up. So you hear the little ball in there. And this one's gathered twigs. This again is Tim Holtz Distress Oxide Spray. So it doesn't take very much. So I just would get my fabric, and then I keep a spray water bottle, and I kind of just wet it down. And then this really only took 2 squirts for all the stuff that I did, because then I just kept adding more water. And I'd wear gloves because otherwise your fingers look like that. But I did that, and then I also just did some kitchen string, that I use for cooking. I used some of that too because I like the look of that for when I do my tie at the top. So I just dyed everything together. I didn't care if it covered it completely, just kind of makes it have that tea-stained look. So that's one thing that you can use to put behind. And like I said, you can use burlap, any color or whatever. Or you can use paper. On one of them, let's see which one it is. I actually used, what did I do with it? What's the first one I did? It's this one. On this one, I actually used some of the scrim that I dyed, and then this is a little bit of brown paper bag that I put behind. So I put it kind of one side and then the scrim kind of over here, and then I sewed all that together before I put it on my card. I wanted to do that because on this one I might want to write or something, and I don't want the stitching to come through. So I tried to do a little bit of everything just to show you the difference. So that one's just a straight stitch along the edge that I just put the brown paper bag, the scrim, that little stamp piece of paper, and I sewed that. Afterwards, I decided I wanted to put something more on the bottom, and I loved this Gratitude is the Heart's Memory. This was actually part of another stamp, but I didn't like what they had on it. It was like leaves or something, and I didn't like that. So I actually just cut that part off. And then there's another little, now I still have this little piece. This was at the top of it, and there was something I didn't like the look of in between. So I cut it off, but this is like the dictionary definition of gratitude. So I want to save that because I can use that again. So to put this on, that was an afterthought. But before I put it on the tag, I have one of these little, this is Heidi Swap, a little mini stapler. I know Tim Holtz does these too. You can find them. There's different brands, but this one works fine. I got this one at Scrapbook. I have to look up the name of that. I think it's scrapbook.com or scrapbookersanonymous.com, something like that. But anyway, it's really cute. It does these little tiny staples. I used to have just like an office one, but it was small. This one has a bigger bite, so you can get further into your project. But it was just another attacher, little mini attacher, I guess they call it. So I did that, and then I ran it through my sticker machine just so I didn't have to glue it. And then I just stuck it on my little tag that I had made. And then for the tie, this one is just garden twine. This will last you forever, jute twine. So I just took a piece of this, and it comes out like this. And then I didn't want it that thick, so I just took it apart. And now I have, you know, like, I don't know, 6 or 5 little ties. So those are great. So I have those. Then the other thing I decided to use, I used to do this a lot of times. When I had place that I sold in a vintage shop, all my tags I kind of looked like this, and I would attach them with my burlap. So if you take burlap, you just cut it to the length you want your tie, and then you just pull them out, and you have all these little perfect size little mini strings. So that's another one. And then the other string I did was the one I ended up really liking. This was the kitchen twine that I dyed. I didn't want it to be bright white, but I love how when you do this, when it ends up kind of curly, so I'm using that. So I'm using different ones. I want them to all be a little bit different. So that's for my tie in my window. And then, so that was that one. This one I showed you, that one was the quilt one. Then this one was a little butterfly, and this one I put the burlap behind, but when I cut the burlap, I just used straight scissors, and you'd cut off a piece. I like burlap because you can always get a straight line because you just cut it where in between the threads. And then you can just take off a couple threads, and then it gives you that raw edge. So this one I did with the raw straight edge. And then to attach it, I used my mini stapler, and I just put staples on it. I didn't even glue that on, so you do see the staples through the back. So if you wanted to have the look of staples, but you don't want them to come through the back, just staple the little stamp to the burlap and then glue it onto your tag. So I wanted to show you what the difference of that looks like. I'll probably, more often than not, do everything and then stick it on so that this is nice and clean, because these actually are going to snag. The other thing I can do if I wanted to fix this is put another piece of paper on it, a different fabric or something, but then it's going to be pretty thick. Then this one I love this one, said Life's Journey on it, and I was going to maybe put it in that front pocket of the book, but I don't know. But I got a piece of just lace that is, just kind of look, just a scrap of lace, and then I didn't really want it to be as white as it was, so I just used my whatever ink was on my little thing, and it was just enough to make it not be bright white. And then this is a piece of the cheesecloth, which is really open weave. So cheesecloth, when it comes off of the little roll, it's actually folded in half. So I left it that way to dye it, but then unfolded it, so I would just get, it's almost like fishing net. So I would just get that real organic kind of look, and I like that. So that was a little bit of lace here on one side, and then the cheesecloth dyed, and then I just did a straight stitch right around the edge. And that one I went ahead and stitched it. I did all this because I want you to see what it looks like if you don't do it separate. Now on this one, because I had just scrap and scrap, if I wanted to sew this and not sew it right to my tag, I would take another piece of paper or something. On that one I used brown paper bag, worked really well as a backing, so that otherwise if you try to sew just the lace and just this, I'm afraid your sewing machine might eat it down into the bobbin area and you'll have a jam and it won't be good. So I would put a paper backing on that. This is my favorite one. This one I did, and I thought, okay, I had done the brad idea for the tag to, have it swivel. So I thought, how about if I do that on the tag? Then it's like one more layer of stuff. So this one I went ahead and I did, two things I did different was, you see this edge is not straight. That's because I cut it with my decal edge scissors, and I really like how that looks. So it's just another doing something different. So if you cut that, it's like long, short because of the edge of the scissors. And so then when you take these off, you get an uneven edge, and I kind of like that too. So that one I did with the uneven edge just on burlap, and I sewed it to just the burlap instead of sewing it to my tag, because then I used my little tiny puncher and punched a hole just big enough for the little brad. And the little brads I got are Tim Holtz, and they come in like a whole bunch of them. And the pack I got had, I think, 3 different colors even, and they're all kind of antique looking. So there's like a bronze one and a dark metal aged gray kind of color, and another one I don't remember what it was, but anyway. So I just put it on one corner. So this one says "Forget Me Not," and look what happens. You open it and you can put a little picture in there. Isn't that cute? I just love that. So I thought, oh, this is kind of like, you know, that you could put your, you know, your first childhood friend, or a picture of your first dog or something. I just thought it was cute. You could hide it, put anything under there, you know. You could have a little secret message, or I don't know, all kinds of stuff. But I just thought that was really cute. I pulled that off. And that one I used the kitchen string on it. So each one of them I tried to do different. This one's the twine. Kitchen string again. I guess I like that kitchen string the most. I used it the most. So I have these done. I have so many more ideas I want to work on, but I just thought that I would show you at least one thing that you can do, so that if you want to mass make anything, that you can. So see how my little card just fits right in there. It's a little bit tight because it's all that fabric on there. And then I just put the little scrap of that lace and an old button and just stuck it on the top just for another little decorative thing. So I think that's good for that one. My next, I don't know if I'll do this pull out next or work on the next one. But anyway, it's going to take a while to get all these things done. But whenever I have a new idea like that, I want to share it so that you can, in case you're working along on your own journal, that you have another little idea. So I hope if you like that, you'll give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and if you have any other recommendations or about my video that I need to work on, let me know. Let me know in the comments, and I'll try to put any kind of links I can find for any of this stuff I showed in the comments or in the description. So go create something, have fun, have a great rest of your day, and join me next time. Bye.